Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Making Sales Social Live, coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios and brought to you by AskSSL.ai. I'm Bob Woods. I'm joined by Stan Robinson Jr. and Bryn Tillman. How's everyone doing this fine Monday?
Fabulous.
Excellent. Very, very good. It's very enthusiastic too. I like that. Let's go ahead and just roll right in to today's subject. So, do you want to know why your sales prospecting efforts are probably failing? It's not because people don't want your offer. It's because you're likely coming out of the gate with what you want rather than building trust first with your prospects. Now, here's the thing, buyers are savvy. They can spot a pitch a mile away. I mean, you can spot one, right? We all here can spot one. We get pitched to constantly. You can identify it too. Here's the thing though, your buyers don't want to be sold to, they want to be seen, heard, understood. They want to have pure conversations. They don't want just another campaign tossed in their face or to go through yet another SDR qualifying call, that type of thing. That's where LinkedIn Insight exchanges come in. Instead of sending cold pitches or tired connection requests or not even sending anything in your connection request at all, Insight exchanges invite real conversations between peers. It's not about selling, it's about sharing ideas, learning from each other, and then earning the right to go deeper. Now, Bryn said something that's really great about the Insight Exchange during our weekly meeting earlier today. She said that instead of networking, this is really about, hey, I want to network with you, which is really important, I think, nowadays, right, guys?
Yeah, and actually what I was thinking really it's this is the new networking, right? Like this
Yeah.
is that it's not just, hey, let's learn about each other and then if something comes up I can refer you. If something comes up you can refer me. It's about going deeper and it's about sharing what they're seeing in the industry in the marketplace, what you're seeing in the marketplace. And it's really about helping each other get better and build a stronger, deeper relationship that will more authentically lead to introductions and referrals down the line. And there are many ways that we teach how to do that once you've got those relationships. The challenge for many is how do we start these calls? Because I can't even tell you 10, 15 times a month where someone's like, hey, it looks like we sell to the same people. Let's jump on a call and see if we can refer business to one another. And
Hmm.
honestly, like I don't, I have, I'm very selective in who I want to refer, and I'm not going to jump on a call with people that are so eager to refer me before they even know me. Right. So
Yeah.
I think this becomes the deeper, better way to network, at least online, right? Like if you're meeting people in person, you're getting a stronger connection with them, you're getting to know them, you're seeing them interact with other people in the room, you can feel the authenticity. But when you're on Zoom and you're jumping on for a 15-minute call, you don't really know for sure if these are people that you'd feel comfortable referring. So if you start, we always say slow down the outreach to speed up the outcome. With an insights exchange, it changes everything.
Yep.
Yep, and one of the things, and I know we'll get into this without diving in too far ahead, is if you start the exchange based on content that they've commented on or posting, it's starting the conversation with something very specific. So it's not a general, well, let's see if we can refer business. You're kind of starting specific. And when you speak to someone about a specific topic, you can get a really good sense of how important it is to them, how knowledgeable they are about it, and how they talk about it. So it gives you a sense of the person as well.
Well,
And
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and it build on just what Stan said, just really, really quickly. Because it starts with a thought of theirs, you're already going to be more important to them because you are, you may not, you're probably going to be agreeing with that thought, but because you're actually starting with something that they said rather than a pitch, I think that just lends even more authenticity and value to what you want to do as well.
That is 100% spot on, both of you. That's phenomenal. And I love this idea of starting the conversation around what they obviously care about, not what I want to talk about. So perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stan,
Nope.
Stan, yeah. We got a lot of stuff to cover today. So, so Stan, do you want to talk a little bit more about what insight engagement really is?
It's funny. In essence, and at least the way I view it, is picking a very specific comment that someone's made about a topic and reaching out and saying, hey, I noticed that you commented on this topic, and I'd love to talk to you in a little bit more detail about how you see it. And I will also bring my perspective to the discussion. You can do it on Zoom. You can do it on a phone call. The main thing is to exchange thoughts.
Right. Yeah. So what I like about this whole thing is that you're not trying to get the meeting. Everyone in sales is obsessed about getting the meeting. I mean, obviously you're trying to meet with someone, but it's not about getting the meeting. You're actually earning the meeting by showing up as someone who is worth listening to, who is worth exchanging insights for. That's why we call them insight exchanges, because you're inviting your prospects into meaningful peer-to-peer conversations around topics they care about. Because remember, you're starting this whole thing with a nugget that they have shared. So they already care about this. And that naturally builds trust and creates a space for future business discussions, which is why I think that it works just from a 30,000-foot view, Bren.
Yeah, I agree. And so the next question really is, how do we find the right people and the right content?
Yeah.
So you want to start that, and then I'll.
Well, actually, before we get into that, we do have an ebook associated with this. Now, this is actually a fairly detailed ebook, so we're not going to be able to get into everything in this podcast that's in the ebook. So I am really, really encouraging you to download the ebook. So it's at socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn Insights. That's all one word, LinkedIn Insights. Socialsaleslink.com. Yeah, 2 N's there. That's how in we want you to be. Socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn Insights. We already have those in that link in YouTube and in LinkedIn for our people who are viewing and listening to us live right now. We will have that link as well in show notes for when the podcast version comes out. So again, we're talking 30,000-foot view stuff here. There is more detail in here, along with a bunch of crispy prompts that you can use, crispy AI prompts, I should say, that you can use as well to really help you on this journey that we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I love that. Can we jump into how do we find it?
Let's jump. Let's jump headfirst into the deep end.
All right. So, this is the biggest question is if I go to my homepage and I start scrolling, there is so much noise. Just like where am I ever going to find the right content from the right people at the right time? And there's lots of different ways to do this. The first way I love is to search posts. So if you go to your search bar inside of LinkedIn, this is in the free LinkedIn, and you hit enter, one of the filters is posts. And you can click on posts, and then I go to latest, and then I'll do from my first degree connections and people I follow. And then I get a list of my connections content, people I follow content. So maybe I follow Brene Brown. She's not my connection, but if she shares content and I'm following her, it will now come up in this stream. And I bookmark it. So I call it daily content. And I will click in there and see who in my network shared content. And when you do latest, you're getting the most recent content. So I love that. Once you're engaging, that is going to spark ideas for conversation. So they shared content, you can comment and react and reach out to them with additional insights. I'm sure we'll talk about where to grab them. And I think that to me is one of the most powerful ways to optimize LinkedIn and your time, right? Because you'll go straight in. And so now I see Stan shared content around, adoption for Sales Navigator, and I engage on that, and I reach out and say, Stan, I really enjoyed your content or your comment on Sales Navigator adoption. I have some ideas that I've been throwing around. I'm wondering if you'd be interested to exchanging some thoughts around this topic. If you are, let me know. I'd be happy to send over a link, or if you are, please let me know your preferred way to schedule, right? Yep. So now it's really directly around what mattered to Stan. And it bridges to what matters to me, but it doesn't start with what matters to me. Yep. Now, it's really important you do not bait and switch this call. Even if they ask you, so tell me what you do it in a very 1 to 2 sentences. And if they seem interested, you could say, hey, I'd love another call where I can learn more about what you do, and I can share what I do and see if there's an opportunity for us to refer business or to network further. Make it a second call before you pitch it, And if your profile is positioned well, that's helping you build that as well. So yeah. Natalie said she loves our prompts. Well, I love Natalie. So I'm going to just share one other thing, because how do I know Natalie? Most Saturday mornings, we are hanging out on Sales Logic podcast at 8 a.m. Eastern with Mark Hunter and Meredith Elliott Powell. And it's a fabulous live podcast as we're doing this here. This is another opportunity, right? This is where we can get into conversations with people around events, and then move that to, I'd love to talk more about the topic that Meredith and Mark were talking about. You can also search content by influencer. So if there are certain influencers that are attracting your ideal audience, now you could go in and follow just people that are engaging with Mark Hunter's content or Meredith's content, and then go out to listen notes, find a podcast they've been on, and start a conversation before you even ask for insights. Provide more insights from the influencer that they've been engaging with. Okay, enough with me. I'm passing the baton. Who's grabbing it?
Great. Yeah, that was awesome. And one of the things about the free version of LinkedIn is most people probably don't use that posts filter, because who talks about it? But it's so valuable to help you stay focused on posts. Now, one of the things, here's one thing to do, here's one thing not to do. The to do, you can use the main search bar to drop a keyword in that will pull up the posts about a specific topic. And then, as Bryn mentioned, you can search for first-degree connections and so forth. So you can narrow things down that way.
Yeah, exactly.
What not to do. Don't do what I used to do, which was scrolling through my news feed to try to find content that I want to engage with. And Bob is vigorously shaking his head, which means, yes, don't do that. So take advantage of that post filter. It's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, the LinkedIn, you really need to take control of your LinkedIn news feed as much as possible. And the best way to do that is to avoid it and do the searches instead, rather than depending on the news feed, because you're not only going to get a lot of stuff that you don't care about, you're also going to get ads that you probably don't care about. So with that, I want to take things back just a little bit to go through the steps, because we kind of talked about all the steps at once. These are all in the ebook, by the way, socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn Insights. That's all one word, by the way, if I haven't said that already. So the first step, which we've gone over pretty much here, is identify the right prospects by looking for those LinkedIn users who post content, as they are more likely to want to engage with you, as well as roles aligned with your ideal client, influencer, or partner profile. Step 2 is that insight exchange invite. Bryn had a good one. And basically the one that we have in our ebook essentially follows that format. So I'm not going to read it out loud again, just bore you all. But what Bryn said and what is in the ebook is what you exactly want to do there. Number 3, something that we really haven't gone over, is offering thought starter prompts. Now, I'm not talking about AI prompts here. These are conversational prompts. So these could be, here are just a couple of examples. What do you believe is the biggest barrier to building trust early in a prospecting conversation? This is obviously coming from someone who is in sales training. You would come up with your own. Number 2, in your experience, what small action creates the biggest trust breakthrough? Number 3, how do you think social selling either helps or hurts trust if not done well? Now, obviously, these examples are more what we would use in the ebook. There is a prompt to help you surface those thought starter prompts for whomever that you're talking to, and especially if you're talking to more than one person in more than one industry, I should say, that is going to be very helpful to you, because obviously you're going to be asking different questions of different people, or different prompts from different people. Number 4, Bryn basically nailed this one. Manage the insight exchange. Obviously, the most important one is do not pitch. Even if they ask what you do, if you start pitching during this call at any time, they're going to feel like it was a bait and switch, even if they ask for it. So always offer to just have that second call, because this call has a definite purpose, and that's for the insight exchange. And then number 5 is just following up with value. You're just going to, offer to follow up. You may end up writing a blog post or something like that from it. If you do, you might want to mention that. Just say something, during that conversation, like, hey, I may use this stuff in a blog post. Is it okay if I quote you and then attribute you? Sometimes they'll say, yeah, sure, go ahead. Sometimes they'll say, well, don't attribute me, but you can go ahead and quote me. Whatever that is, that's fine. And then number 6, if you do go the blog post route, or if you do the post route or Substack or whatever you're going to end up doing there, just make sure that you get them the link and say, hey, here it is. And, and then invite them to continue the dialogue if they wish. And then if they don't respond, just kind of reach out to them really quick and just say, hey, here it is. Either way, I'm glad we got a chance to exchange perspectives, and like that type of thing, essentially.
Yeah. And, often these folks are referral partners, not necessarily prospects, but
Yep.
if they are a prospect and you've identified something in that conversation, you can go back after that's published or whatever, or, after, to say, hey, Bob, I really appreciate our conversation. I got so much value from your insights. I hope you learned something, or that you got value from mine. I hope you don't mind. When we were chatting, I heard you say X, Y, and Z. And, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I've got some ideas for you. Are you open to a second call? So you don't need to stay passive, but you need permission to move it. If in fact you really have some ideas and thoughts for them that can lead to your solution.
Yep.
And only do it if it's authentic. Only do it if you really heard something there where you can bring some value. But the other thing is, I can't tell you how many of these conversations turn into me introducing them to someone else. Because I heard, right? So I heard they had a different need. And so I introduce them to someone else that can help them, a website builder or, whatever that might be. I heard kind of where their priorities are. And sometimes that turns into business for other folks in our network.
Yep.
That's really networking.
Yes. That's what this is all about when you come right down to it.
Yeah.
It's networking, and why not use the number one platform where people build relationships and have the tools to build those relationships, and that's LinkedIn, to get this whole process started.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in one more quick thing, and then I think I've exhausted my thoughts around this. But the other thing you can do is if you happen to see someone who's engaging and they're a second degree connection and you engage, you can also reach out to your shared connections and say, hey, I've been engaging with Stan on LinkedIn. He's got some great insights. I'm going to be reaching out to him to ask him for an insights exchange call where I can learn more about this topic and his perspective. How well do you know him? Can I drop your name? And Bob goes, yeah, sure. So I reach out, Stan, I really have enjoyed the content that you've shared or the comments that you've made. I was chatting with Bob on LinkedIn. Your name came up. He says, hello, right? And now it's not only have I created some credibility because I've engaged on the content, but now I'm bringing in a shared connection as well. It is definitely more steps and it takes longer. But at the end of this, we need to, I'm going to say it again. I know I said at the top of the hour or half hour or whenever it was, we need to slow down the outreach to speed up the outcome.
Yeah. So Stan, are you exhausted with ideas as well, or would you like to chime in something else?
The last one that I'll mention is one thing that Bryn mentioned several times when she was talking about conversations. That is key is she said, I heard this, I heard that, I heard this. And that implies that she was listening. So the goal with these conversations is yes, to give your perspective, but make sure you listen for opportunities to extend the conversation or help them in some way or put them in contact with someone, because that's where you really get the most value from these conversations.
Okay.
Woo! All right.
Absolutely agree with that. So I just want to wrap up just by going back to what Bryn has said several times, but it's so true, guys. Inside exchanges slow down the sales process just enough to speed up trust, which actually gives you kind of more momentum. That's the word I'm looking for. Momentum as you're going through things. So it's actually about building momentum, even though you're not necessarily starting out of the blocks with that absolute kind of speed, because if you do that, your momentum is probably going to end up going down more. If you start off the blocks just a little bit slower,
pace
yeah, like that, you can speed up that trust. When you make people matter first, everything else is going to flow naturally. So pick 5 connections, send your first Insight Exchange invite or invites, depending on what you want to do, how brave you are, and then open the door to conversations that can actually either convert directly into sales or strengthen or start a networking relationship if that's if that's where things are going within that conversation. And then no matter what it is, you're building relationships that actually last. And again, what I said before, there is so much. We've actually addressed things that aren't in the ebook here on this episode, as well as there are things in the ebook that we haven't addressed here. So we normally don't really push things, but we're kind of pushing things a little bit more here just because we think it's so important for you to get this into your hands or onto your screen or however you want to put it. socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn Insights. socialsaleslink.com/LinkedIn Insights. That's where we're going to leave things. Thanks, guys. Another great conversation today.
Yay. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks. So whether you've been with us live or recorded via our podcast, thanks for joining us for this episode of Making Sales Social Live. We are here practically every week. So join us. If you're listening to us on our podcast, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done that already, and drop us a like and or a comment as well. We also interview leaders and experts in sales, marketing, business, and many more areas. That's the other part of our podcast here. So catch those episodes as well. And when you are out and about this week and every week, and especially if you're doing this kind of thing that we've just been talking about, make sure that your sales are
So